Joining me now is our military analyst, Sean Bell. Sean, great to see you as always. Talk us through what we know about what happened overnight in Lviv in particular.
Yeah, Ukraine claims there has been a massive wave, again, of missile and mainly drone attacks across, particularly in the early hours of the morning, across Ukraine. Lviv seems to be the main target, which crossed the west. As you say, one person's died there. There was a major fire industrial warehouse there, which has caused a huge amount of damage. They also found a man and woman were trapped underneath the rubble. The images we're seeing here are from that. And amazingly, the woman emerged completely unscathed. Its real question is, why have the Russians attacked Lviv? It is a long way away from anywhere. It looks very likely this is about Russian attacking Western supplies of aid into the country. But there's also a person killed at Kherson as well, and that's where we got to the two dead last night. Also, slightly more positive news in Ukraine. We've heard that the first grain ship has left Ukrainian ports. It's only carrying 3,000 tons of grain, but it's using that little corridor down the territorial waters bound for the Bosphorus Strait. So we're hoping that's at least a moment of relief in the grain story.
Meanwhile, President Zelensky's in New York for the UN General Assembly. Talk us through the relevance.
Yeah, they're in person this time. He normally joins via some sort of Zoom link. So the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Earlier, he visited a load of the wounded. We're seeing some of the footage there from now. The United States is providing some help with some of the more difficult injuries at the New York Staten Island University Hospital. But also he's been doing some media interviews whilst he's there with CBS earlier. He spent about an hour talking about the war and how the Ukrainians were fighting to stop World War III happening in Europe. But he also described President Putin as the sort of second Hitler. Now, as I said, he would normally do these remotely. He's actually there in person. Later today, he'll be addressing the whole of the United Nations General Assembly, apart from, obviously, President Putin, because he's indicted by the International Criminal Court, but Lavrov's there. And then tomorrow he'll be at the United Nations Security Council doing a briefing there.
And just quickly, Sean, I mean, why is he there in person? I mean, he's timed it when others like Macron and Sunak haven't gone in person.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the United Nations, as you well know, is 193 countries. Is a huge, and therefore it's relatively impotent. The permanent members are Russia. Therefore, no statement's going to come out of the UN. But I say that's why the G7, which is quite a lot more important, met in private, and they've issued a very strongly worded statement. But President Zelensky takes every opportunity he wants to talk to global leaders. He wants to get more weapons. It's very rare for global leaders to all get together. The fact is, he's asked for Russia. Why has Russia not been removed from the United Nations? That's not going to happen anytime soon. And the advocates would say you need to have some method of all these countries. They're not all aligned, but when the war is over, there'll need to be discussions, and that's why they're probably still there.